Bodhisattva Dharmakara, in his casual stage, under the guidance of Lokeshvararaja Buddha, searched into the origins of the Buddha's Pure Lands and the qualities of those lands and their human beings and devas. He then established the supreme, incomparable vow. He made the great vow, rare and all-encompassing. In the five kalpas of profound thought, he embraced this vow, then resolved again that the name be heard throughout the 10 quarters. Everywhere, the Buddha casts light, immeasurable, boundless, unhindered, unequaled, light lord of all brilliance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandats, namandats, namandats. Good morning, everyone. Before I begin my talk, if you are able, go ahead and stand up for just a second. Go ahead and stand up. Take a deep breath. Kind of stretch your shoulders a second. And then go ahead and breathe out. Okay, you can go ahead and sit down now. Thank you. I once again would like to welcome you all. First, wish you all a happy new year. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to come here on the first Sunday service of the Tacoma Buddhist Temple. And if you're wondering why I asked you to stand up and stretch, it's because we did a pretty long chant. We did the Shoshin Nembutsuge and the Nembutsu Wasan portion, which we don't often get to do here at the Tacoma Buddhist Temple. However, that being said, you should know that in Japan, at our head temple at Nishihonganji in Kyoto, Japan, they chant this chant both with the Shoshinge and the Nembutsu Wasan almost every single day at 6 a.m. So think about that, right? Like we usually only do Jusege, Sambutsuge, Junidai, but it's not often that we get to indulge with the chant of Shoshin Nembutsuge. And of course, I understand that it is a bit longer and it does take a little bit more time and effort, especially since the melodies can go all over the place sometimes. But we should also remember, and especially since this is the first Sunday of the year of 2026, I wanted to start off the year with kind of reestablishing or going over the basics of why Shoshin Nembutsuge is such an important chant to our tradition. This is one of the chants that priests all have to memorize in order to become ordained. And the reason for this is because the words of the Shoshin Nembutsuge encompass almost the entire doctrine or teaching of this school of Buddhism. That being that we are all saved, we are all, in a sense, helped to enlightenment. We are all helped to enlightenment by Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion. And I like this one, and I like to start the year off with this because, a lot of us tend to make New Year's resolutions, right? It's the new year. We all make New Year's resolutions. We want to be better about money. We want to be better about health. We want to lose weight. We want to, we kind of set a goal and we try our best to reach that. A lot of times, these goals tend to be about surface level things. And again, not to say that New Year's resolutions are bad. We should all try to be more healthy. We should all try to, in a sense, eat better, take better care of our bodies, be better with our finances. All of these are good things to have, right? These are all good goals to have. And in order to live a more smooth and, in a sense, not unstressful life as possible, we should try to make these goals. That being said, I would also like to direct our attention to the fact that when you think about the Amida Buddha, the Buddha of infinite light and infinite life, the goal of a Buddha is not to do something selfishly for themselves, right? A goal of a Buddha is not to save more money, be better about budgeting, right? Be better about physical health necessarily, or be better about making this certain amount of salary or whatnot. The goal of a Buddha is to help save all sentient beings from suffering. All of us as unenlightened beings suffer. And when I say suffer or dukkha, right, I mean that we are all experience a sense of unease. We all don't know what the future holds. We all don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And all of us are filled with the constant anxieties sometimes and many, trappings of what causes us stress in our daily life, right? Some of you probably walked out the door or were in the car thinking, uh-oh, did I leave the stove on, right? Or, uh-oh, did I remember to turn this light off, right? All of these things in our lives cause us a great sense of unease. Then, of course, we have this new year that is beginning for all of us here in 2026. I wonder sometimes if all of us kind of ask ourselves, how are we going to spend this year? How are we going to spend our time? What are our priorities? And that's one of the things about, I think, coming to temple can really help us in our daily lives sometimes, is that it really causes us to really force ourselves to stop and think very clearly about what our priorities are, what our goals are in life. And of course, in one of the greatest things about Jodo Shinchu Buddhism, or this school of Buddhism that we belong to, is that there is no real prescribed set amount of practices that you have to do. Okay, so this school of Buddhism does not teach that, okay, you have to meditate for this amount of hours, you have to say the Nembutsu this amount of times, you have to donate this amount of money, right? Not saying don't donate to the temple, but there's no tier list, right? It's not like an elite club where if you donate this much, you get into this tier, all right? All that we teach is the recitation of Namo Amida Butsu. All that we teach is that you are accepted by the Buddha's wisdom and compassion just as you are, because of who you are and because of who I am. All of us are in this road together. And all that we need to do is place our hands together and say Namo Amida Butsu. That's it. That's super easy. And some of us may be wondering, wow, that almost seems too easy, right? That almost seems like it's not enough, right? And that is our human minds calculating that. We sometimes think that I need to do more. I need to prove myself. I need to prove that I'm worthy of things, right? I need to prove that I deserve certain things, right? And yeah, in some forms of life or in some aspects of our life, we do need to do that, like when it comes to a promotion or when it comes to graduating a certain grade or graduating high school or college. We do need to show that we have, learned a certain amount. But then it's nice because when we come to the temple, it allows us to sort of reset things a little bit. And this is because we are in a space where Amida Buddha, and of course, Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion goes outside of the temple too, but the space allows us to really feel accepted for who we are by Amida Buddha. Now, of course, when it comes from people to people, it's very hard, it's much harder for us to do that. We create calculations, we create boundaries in our life. We create sort of stigmas or classifications, right? The differences that we can clearly physically see sometimes, we create these boundaries. And it's unfortunately natural that human beings do that. But at the same time, we are also very, very fortunate that we are inside a space where Amida Buddha accepts us for who we are as we are and because of who we are. Because of our imperfections, because of our hang-ups and our kleshas, we are accepted by Amida Buddha. We are actually helped by Amida Buddha. When I read about the quotes today, when I read from the Gosandai or the quote today, I read directly from the Shoshinge, or the chant that we did. And when you think about this, this kind of talks about Amida Buddha's New Year's resolution. Amida Buddha was before another Buddha, and he vowed that he would create the Pure Land for all sentient beings to be born in, regardless of who you are. All beings are welcome to the Pure Land. And not only that, but the benefits of the light of wisdom and compassion from that Pure Land affect us here and now. So it's true that in this lifetime, we can never hope by our own means to reach that state of enlightenment. But it also gives us a great sense of hope that we are being helped along the way by Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion. We are being assisted. And this is because, in truth, all of us need some type of assistance here or there. It's very arrogant to think I can do all of this on my own. I can take care of my own life, right? Of course, we should not be so, we should not be so dependent on other people that we won't be able to function without, without them. We do definitely all need to learn how to stand on our own feet to a large degree. But when it comes to the spiritual side of things, it never hurts. And it's actually necessary for us because of our unenlightenment that we need some assistance for that. And this is where Amida Buddha comes into play. So, with this being said, I wanted to once again sort of address what are the core foundations of this school of Buddhism. One, that saying Namo Amida Butsu is all we need, right? We don't need to, do all of these meritorious practices in order to live a fulfilled spiritual life. Namo Amida Butsu is all you need. Number two, you are accepted just as you are by Amida Buddha. When it comes to people, that's a much taller order because of our own human calculation. But when it comes to a Buddha, we are accepted for who we are as we are. And we should remember that. And in many cases, try to reflect that in our daily lives. It may not be possible to do 100% of the time, but when we start to find ourselves judging and sort of pointing our finger towards other people and saying you're horrible or you're wrong or you're bad, it's important to remember that there is a Buddha who accepts all of us as we are. And maybe that might cause our thinking to change a little bit. And finally, once again, that this space here at the Tacoma Buddhist Temple inside the Hondo is a precious one for all of us to gather and listen to the Nembutsu, the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha, and the writings of Master Shinran. It's important that we continue to engage with these teachings from time and time again to remind us that it's not that we are not the be all and end all of our whole, of this whole universe and of this world. We are part of a much bigger picture. And part of that definitely is reciting Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. For those of you who are new to our temple, I remind us again that Namo Amida Butsu, when we place our hands together, simply translates to, I take refuge in the Buddha of infinite light and infinite life. That's all that it means. It's not a spell that, gives you good fortune. It's not this mystic power that grants you like whatever next week's winning lottery numbers are. It is an acknowledgement that we accept and graciously receive the wisdom and compassion from the Pure Land, just as we are, as we are. So with this in mind, I wish all of you a happy new year and sincerely hope that this year is a better year than last year's. This isn't to say that I think last year, 2025, was a horrible year, right? But I always hope for better because last year, bad things happened and good things happened, or I should say things that caused a lot of harm and stress happened, but also wonderful things happened too. So, but I also hope that this year of 2026 will be a better one. I have no control over a large portion of it, but I certainly hope that all of us will continue to come to the temple, listen to the teachings, and recite Nembutsu together. Isn't it wonderful when all of us place our hands together and say Namo Amida Butsu? In that moment alone, I think our ego sometimes goes out the window and we're all saying the same thing, right? Not that we should be drones and cult-like necessarily, but that all of us can take this brief moment to acknowledge that there is a bigger picture than just ourselves. So thank you all so much for joining us today for our first Sunday service of 2026. It's so wonderful to see all of you here and to see our temple as packed as it is right now. Certainly hope this trend will continue. And finally, the last reason why I would like us to chant the Shoshi Nembutsu Ge with the Nembutsu Wasan portion is because for our National Council in February, the Sunday service on the 15th, we will also chant the Shoshi Nembutsu Ge with the Nembutsu Wasan. And it'll be a wonderful thing to be able to chant that with all of our fellow members of the temples in the Northwest District, as well as members from across the Buddhist churches of America. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda.